When a humble bard graced to ride along with Geralt of Rivia, along came this song. From when the White Wolf fought a silver-tongued devil, his army of hells, his hooves did they revel. They came after me with massive for deceit, broke down my loot and they kicked in my teeth. While the devil's horns wrenched out tender meat, and so cried the witcher, he can be bleed. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty. At the edge of the world, fight the mighty horde that batches and breaks you and bring to the mold. He thrusts every elf far back on the shelf, high up on the mountain from whence he came. Yeah! He wiped out your past, got kicked in his chest. He's a friend of humanity, so give him the rest. That's my epic tale, a champion prevailed, defeated the villain, now for him some hell. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your witcher, a friend of humanity. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, ah. Toss a coin to your witcher, a friend of humanity. Whoa! Toss a coin to your witcher, valley of plenty, valley of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your witcher, a friend of humanity.
Hey, my friends, it's great to see you today. For those of you who don't know, I'm very passionate about the Witcher franchise. I think Witcher 3 is a strong name for the best game of the last decade, in my opinion. But hey, let me know down in the comments below if you want me to do more Witcher songs. There's still Priscilla's song from the game. There's still the song of the White Wolf from the show. Let me know below what should be next. For those of you who are new here, well, first of all, welcome. Feel free to browse around in the channel. We're all about powerful music over here, especially power metal, heavy metal in general, and rock and roll. I hope to see you next time. Until then, my friends, have yourselves an epic day.
Champion prevailed.
Hello, cats and kittens, felines and felidae, humans and variant humans, and every race, class, and subclass. Welcome to another episode of Brainy the RPG Cat. Oh, Teanos has made his first time chat from viewer. Teanos is a really great streamer. Let me go ahead and let me give him a quick shout out. I'm pretty sure that he has stream clips. Last playing Metal Gear Solid. Always one of my favorites. This is an interesting game in this clip here. That's a lie. I don't even know what a stream is. Of course you do. You're one of the people who inspired me to do this. Well, a mutual friend of ours did, but still, you know. You're a great streamer, Teanos. Oh no, what have I done? Well, you did the previous clip. That's all there is. Yes, look at me! Gaze upon my character animator created face and tremble. So anyways, tonight we are going to be doing another tabletop RPG related stream. So I just recently got into Dungeon Painter Studio. Is that I remember, you know, in some of my RPG writing streams that I said over and over and over again that I need to create maps, I need to start creating maps. And so I was looking into Dungeon Painter Studio as a program that I could use to create maps, but the problem is that, you know, I do eventually want to publish all of this stuff in some of my own books, so I can't use some of the pre-made tiles that are already in Dungeon Painter. So what I'm doing is that, you know, I'm starting a stream where I will be able to create my own original Dungeon Painter tiles, and then we can import them in Dungeon Painter Studio. And so there, prepared to see a lot of little pictures, because I am going to mostly be making these black and white with ink and hatch marks, kind of the same kind of artwork that you would see in some classic homemade RPG books back in the 1980s when this was all done with Xerox machines. But I make no apologies about that. Once again, I'm using a very high-tech means in order to create a very primitive image, which is something that I've become known for. Teano says that I'm upset that I seem to keep bringing cats to the internet. Well, what can I say? This is always going to be the labor of the prolific Hollywood bird. But anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'd like to take a moment to call out our sponsor for... Oh, I put that wrong. Okay. We're partnered with the Great Media Games LLC to give you inexpensive TCG single cards. Visit greatmedia.games and use the code 10finity at checkout for 10% off your online purchase. So, all responsibilities aside, we can go ahead and we can begin to work on our dungeon tiles. This is our first edition of... I forgot what I named this segment. This is called Dungeon Tile Gallery. This is our brand new segment. So, thank you everybody for tuning in. Let's go ahead and let's get started. Okay, so for starters, yeah, I'm doing this in full screen mode. And so, I am using a new template too. Is that, you know, I created a custom template. It's called Dungeon Painter Tile. Go ahead and hit OK on that. And let me see, I think I'm going to need to create a zoom as well. So 100%, that's it's already at 100%, so let's fit to screen rather. Or just 200. Yeah, probably 200 is probably going to be a fit to display. And so I made a little bit mistake in the setup. I should have put my little pod display on the second display here too. So forgive the slight breaking of the fourth wall, but I'm just going to drag two windows here and then I'm going to bring them to the background. Alright, so now this is working the way that it's supposed to. Alright, so just to show you an example of what I've been doing is that, so this is grass. And so, yeah, this is one of the very first new designs that I've been working on. This is grass. And basically, this is as simplistic as many of these images are going to be. It is really just black ink against a white background. And this is going to be representative of grass. So, let's go ahead and let's take out our number 2 pencil and let's begin. And so the very first thing I'm going to be drawing is I'm going to be drawing grass number 2. So, see, I think this has gotten way out of sync since the last time that I used it. I may start abandoning it soon. Well, at least maybe just the paw version of it. Alright, so let's see. How big is my brush at the moment? I would say that, okay, that needs to be black. Okay, needs to be, alright. And so this is a little bit on the big side. I probably only want this to be about a 3. Alright. That turned into a 7 somehow. Alright. I need to bring up that other illustration very quickly. I need to, this is the one I just looked at. Okay. And so I just need to draw the grass again. I just need to draw the grass in a different configuration. And, not quite the way that I want it to look. And we're calling this grass B. But then I also need to point it to the proper directory. This needs to be a PNG. Hang on a second. I need to go into my own structure here. I'll be right back. Okay, so you'll still be able to hear my voice. I just need to take a moment in order to point myself to the correct directory. I don't need you to see the entirety of my computer's infrastructure. So, I assumed that, tonight's stream was going to be just relatively scuffed because this is the first time I was going to even try to do anything like it, so... I should have had a lot of this, set up just before the beginning of the stream, but here we are. Yeah, alright then. And then I need to go here. Or, okay, and then no, that's not quite it. Examples. No, it was this directory, and then these templates. Okay. Okay, now we can come back. So this is the directory that I'm largely just putting these in. Is that this is called the Brainy custom directory. A lot of these other directories contain the PNGs that are typically used in Dungeon Painter Studio. So I'm gonna double click on my directory, and so I'm looking into floors and outdoor floors, and this is where I put the preview for outdoor floors and grass A, and then I'm just going to call this one grass B, and then I'm going to give it a save. And so, yeah, we're just going to be creating several different configurations of this, first of all. And, oops, maybe I actually saved that as a project. Let me try to save as grassb.png. No, that's correct. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's give that a delete. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the grass again. I'm going to draw it in a different configuration, and then I'm going to save it again. And this is really just how dungeon tile making is going to, how we're going to commit to dungeon tile making, let me put it that way. Is that we're going to make probably C, D, E, F, and G of different kinds of grass palettes, and that's really just how we're going to start developing this. This one almost looks like it's the reverse of the A one. It's riveting stuff, I know, just completely and totally pulse pounding, but this is the kind of thing you want to do if you want to make the most out of your tabletop RPG creation software. Okay, let's save as again. Okay, so this one is going to be Grass C. Well, that's going to be a PNG. And it's in floors and it's in outdoors. Alright. Delete again. And, so something like Grass D is probably only going to, since I've been using like a 4 grass blade configuration up at this point, I should break things down slightly. I should probably only put 2 on this one. And save this as Grass D. And so, you know, in my haste to bring myself to tonight's stream, I completely forgot that I did need to give all of these, I did need to add a new stream title to this, so, making TTRPG dungeon tiles. Maybe I should say drawing instead. I am drawing TCG dungeon tiles. Alright. This is the first time Teanos came to visit. Hasn't the, I'm not doing anything particularly exciting today, like writing my lore or anything like that, but I am still doing something tabletop RPG related. Let's see. And speaking of which, I do need to be on the Tabletop RPG channel. Alright. That's taken care of. So, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to Brainy the RPG Cat, where we draw lots of very primitive images of grass. Alright. There we are. And so this was Grass D. Okay, so the next thing that we should do is that we should make Grass E, and so once again put down another layer. And so this is going to be the same as 2 blades of grass, but in a different area as before. And give that a save. Grass E. We'll get to more exciting dungeon tiles in just a moment. I promise. I do need to save a blank at some point. So I might as well just do that now. When I want to create dungeon tiles that are just plain white. Alright. make a new layer. And so for F and G, we're probably just going to put a blade of grass in the center. And then delete that layer. Create a new layer. H will just have a blade of grass off to the side. That'll be G. And finally, for H, oops, hang on, my drawing program is going through a bit of a save state at the moment. Well, also it looks as though, you know, I'm trying to severely draw frames at the moment. Okay, so trash this one. And then just draw a blade of grass in the corner, and then I'll probably be done with the grass slightly after this one. And so this is grass H. And so now I just have a great variety of different grass tiles that I'm going to be using in Dungeon Painter Studio in order to make grass tile areas of my maps. So let's get just a little bit more interesting here. We are going to draw some happy little flowers. We're going to draw some flower tiles. And so these are going to be like grass tiles. Of course, every once in a while you're going to see a daisy. And I think my daisies are going to have 5 petals on them, and they're going to be relatively flat looking. It's not nearly well drawn enough. And I am going to get to a moment to stop doing the to stop using the paw because I don't think it's working properly. I can't close one without closing the other. Didn't I used to have a writing desk here? I'll just bring my writing desk back and we'll just do drawings without the visual aids for the rest of the stream. Alright. So just like with the other sets, these are going to have a lot and they're going to dwindle down until they have less and less. And then we'll offset that by just having a few grass blades here. And so this is just one particularly populous valley of flowers here. Alright. Okay, flowers A. And so we'll delete those, create a new layer. And this one will probably have 3 flowers. Few more blades of grass. And so it doesn't have nearly as many as the other one does, and call it flowers B. Alright. And this one will probably only have 2 flowers on it. Couple more blades of grass. Probably in more central positions than last time. Alright. And that will be flower C. Alright. And then delete that one. This one just have 1 flower. It's on a slightly off position. I'll probably make one centered and then one in the corner, just like I did with the grass. Alright. This is flowers D. And then we'll create the more central flower. We'll surround that with some grass. Say that one is flowers E. So let's see. Take out one and I will draw one in the lower left hand corner. And then blades of grass around it. And then that will be flowers F. Okay, now we're getting a lot more complex here, so watch me now. So sometimes you don't run into flowers in the valley, sometimes you run into rocks. So that's what this next drawing is going to be. It's going to be a rock. And the rock has just a little bit of a blade of grass growing out of it on the side. And then And so this is going to be the slightly larger centralized rock in my outdoor grassland map. Alright. And we're going to call it Rock A. I think we're going in using a slightly opposite naming scheme for the rocks. This one is going to have 2 slightly smaller rocks. Let's save that one as Rock B. Let's add 3 even smaller rocks to this next one. Call it Rock C, of course. And then just a few small pebbles this time. We're running into the most minute sections of the Rocky Valley here. Let's see. There's a few more pebbles. Alright. That's Rock D. Alright. I think that might be what we're just going to need for the rocks. And so we gotta think just outside of the grass. I was about to say we need to think outside of the rocks. I need to start thinking about just some other things that are going to be out here in a large grassy valley. I'm going to need to draw some bushes. Let's see here. Okay, so new layer. Just one big bush. I think if you put the branches on the side, it looks more like a tree, so. How do you distinguish things as bushes? A few more grass blades. And so bush A. And let's reuse a bit of this. I'm going to erase a little bit of this here and here. And then we're going to make a berry bush. So we are going to put the fronds in slightly different places. We're going to Just make this area here slightly different. Then we're going to just dot it with berries. Okay. And that is bush B. Alright. And so sometimes we're going to want a partial bush, so I'm going to take this once again. I'm going to erase most of it. And kind of took the shape of kind of a sad frog as I was erasing it. And so effectively what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to bring this in slightly a little bit. We're going to need to put just an area right over here. Okay, put the interior of the bush in and then draw a bit of a branch leading up that way. Maybe another stem leading in this direction, and then draw a line in between so that you can see the caved in section of that. And as I said, you know, I'm mostly going to be using hatch marks for the shading, so just start to put hatch lines in this area that is supposed to be a little bit darkened. Put a little bit of grass on the sides, and then let's give that a save. And that's bush C. And going slightly along with that, we'll create a new layer for this, whereas you just kind of see a bush that is just made entirely up of those skinny branches in the middle. Is that a bush that is mostly just dried out and does not look as strong as it used to. And just a little bit of a skinny bush right here. So let's put some of the area around it again, and then put hatch marks in between that. Oops, that's a bit of a scribble. I shouldn't be doing that. Okay. Okay, and a few grass blades here. Alright. That is bush D. And so let's take this one a little bit further. Let me just create a new layer for this one. We're just going to create what used to be a bush but is now just kind of a pile of loose branches on the ground. So this poor bush has just kind of lost all of its foliage. And so once again, let's put the pitted area around it. And that is just a poor desiccated bush right there. And let's give that a save. Alright, so far so good. Let's delete this one, create another new layer. So something I'm probably neglecting is that, I need to just create hexes that have multiple bushes. So we'll create a couple of 2-bush hexes, we'll create a couple of 3-bush hexes, and then we will call that good. Alright. Say this is bush F. And so, the reason that I keep continuing to hand draw these, I could do some shortcuts, like I could reverse some of these so I could have them on the other side, but I do want them to look slightly bigger, and I want them to look slightly different every time that I do them. So that means every single hex that's going to be part of my map is going to look a little bit different depending on what the configuration is going to be. Alright. Do that one a save. Call that one G. Have I done more bushes than I have just done grass areas? No, because I went all the way to H with grass. Alright. Okay. Then I would like to, well, we've done bushes, now we can start doing trees. So let's start making a tree. And so the tree, of course, has to be much bigger than the bush. It's going to have pretty extensive branches. And this is, it's going to have the branches off to the side. Okay, we'll put a little bit of the eraser to that. And then lots more leafies on the exterior of these. So, a little bit more depth on the branches, and that is a tree. Alright, save this one as tree A. Alright. And so just like with the other one, I'm just going to make something of a duplicate with this one. I am going to take this tree and I'm going to put some apples in it. So, you can see that there's a nice healthy fruit tree in the forest. And so, this is not ordinarily how you would draw an apple tree, but I want to see, it makes absolutely sure that I have an apple tree in overhead, so that if I'm ever using an apple tree as part of my maps, the players will know what it is. Alright. That's tree B. And so, going along with the scheme once again is that I am going to make a tree with slightly less foliage and more visible branches in the center. And so with this tree, since you can see it a little bit closer to the ground, you can actually see some of the roots. You can see the roots as it's coming out of the ground, and then you can create just another one of those circular pools of shade underneath it that we're going to fill with hatch marks. Alright. See, I might have been neglecting putting blades of grass on the ground. I'm sure I neglected it in my last two drawings, but I can always just go back in and I can just draw those in. No big deal. Okay, and so this is tree C. I believe it's tree C. And let's delete that one. And so then now we're going to create a completely bare tree, as we're only going to see the upper parts of the branches and the lower parts of the roots. Alright. It almost looks like an octopus coming out of the ground. And so once again, we're creating that shadowy area. It's not entirely realistic, but it's good enough for a simple dungeon map. And so I might go back, I might make 2 or 3 more completely naked trees, because if we find ourselves in the deepest, darkest woods, or if we find ourselves in a haunted forest, then we're going to need more trees that look like this. But I might, just draw that in as part of a completely different folder, a completely different set. I haven't decided that yet. Alright. Tree D. Coming up soon to a stream near you. Brainy the RPG Cat's map dungeon tiles in 3D. And that's basically the only joke you can make while doing busy work like this. So we're going to need a tree stump. Somebody has just chopped down the tree and left a stump behind. There we are. So the trees always seem to be in the center, unlike everything else. And so I have to create, elements of this, where there is a hole in the ground, that's probably only a single hex long. And then if there's going to be like areas that are just, where the cliffside ends and we see a ditch, and, I have to think about those kinds of things because I have to think about, how I'm going to be modular, if I draw two lines converging, they always have to kind of be in the same central place. And so, let me meditate on this one for a moment. I mean, because if I were to do something just like this, make sure all four corners of it connect. Oops. Let me delete that layer because I was accidentally drawing white on that. Alright. So here's an area where, this grassy section is coming to the end, and then this section on the right side is going to be hatch marked. Except I probably do not want that to be two offsides because I want that to at least somewhat come together at the center, because what I would need to do is I would need to work on a means of tessellating this. Of course, grass blades on this side. And then just hatch marks all the way over here. And it's really just that this lined area right here is where the pit's going to be. Alright. I don't know if this should be an A, or I don't know if this should be a B. That's a little bit harder to figure out. And so this actually might be an situation where I might reverse this one because it might make it easier to draw things from the center. Or maybe what I need to do is I need to actually find the center of these images, and then I will be able to draw them. First time chat from viewer Lemur Fanatic. Thank you very much for tuning into the stream. How are you doing tonight? I'm Brainy the RPG Cat. I am responsible for making material that you use in tabletop RPGs, and tonight I am working on creating my own font for dungeon tiles, which I'm going to use in conjunction with Dungeon Painter Studio in order to create maps for the RPGs that I'm writing. So let's see. So how do I put together rulers in Pro? Because that's what I could use right now. A ruler bar. Okay, so I am set up right now with pixels, and so that's what I need to do is I need to put a crosshair on here, but I do need to make sure that it is absolutely in the center. This box is 200 by 200 pixels long, so half of 200 would naturally be 100. So 80. Difference between 80 and 120. So I think that's where the first line would go. And then the second line would go, yeah, just kind of in the same area but slightly in reverse. Right about and make sure that I have these guidelines in place every time I try to make any sets of tiles that tessellate with each other. Alright. I think that looks correct. This is where the guide layer is. Alright. I'm doing alright. I was told to give you some love by following you, so I did. And I finally got to catch you live. Well, I appreciate that immensely. So, I have just completed the task of getting 50 followers on the stream. And, I appreciate you and I appreciate everyone else who has helped me with that. Is that, my next major goal is to try to see if I can get 3 people in the chat chatting at the same time. And so I'm not going to be too hands-on with that one. Is that I just hope eventually I'm going to create something that is engaging enough to get that many people watching. And so I've got a lot of things down the pike. I've got a lot of plans, etc., etc. But I am hoping to make affiliates soon, and it's really helpful to you guys that you were kind enough to give me those first few follows. So I appreciate that a lot. Alright. So, going back to what I was doing before, I am going to try to do the same image again. Uh-oh. I'm having an issue here where the drawing is snapping to the ruler. I have to turn that option off. Okay, so grid ruler bar settings. Okay, that wasn't quite it. Do not snap to special ruler. That's what I need to turn off. Alright. And so now I can draw the end of a grassy area and the beginning of a cliffside. So I am a left-handed artist, and well, just some that and due to a few other things, I've never been able to draw a perfectly straight line or a perfectly straight hatch mark. But that will just be a bit of flair. That will be something which is characteristic of the map style that I'm trying to draw. Alright. And let's call this pit A. Save that. And let's reverse this image. Let me see. Edit. Transform. Flip horizontal. For some reason that just kind of moved it slightly off of the edge. We can't have that. A little bit like that, and we'll hope that the two sides are going to converge the way that I want them to, and we'll save that as pit B. Have I been drawing this on the guide layer the whole time? I think I have been. There's no end to it. Okay. That will take care of that. But anyway, we're going to delete this now. we need to create the up and down for this concept. And let's see. So once again, we're drawing the grass from left to right. The upper part of the grass is going to be up here. And then the pit area is going to be down here. Something I'm going to have to fine tune once I start to put this into the map software is whether or not I am going to be able to if the edges of all of these pit facing areas are going to line up. Okay, so this was pit A, pit B, pit C. Oops, I did not want to delete this one. What I wanted to do instead was I wanted to flip this one upside down. So we will transform it, we will flip it vertical, and then we've got to redo the blades of grass because the blades of grass are upside down at the moment. Just erase those. I sincerely doubt all these hatch mark lines I'm making are going to line up either, but I'll figure out how that is going to work later on. More than likely, I'm going to have to create my own paint bucket tool using my own hatch marks, and really that's how that's going to work. Alright. And so this will be pit D. So the very next thing I'm going to need to do, I'm going to need to create pit corners. So that's basically where I'm just going to take up a quarter of this. And this area is going to be grass, and then this area is going to be the pit. And that is that. So hopefully this will tessellate with the ones that go up and down and left and right. So pit E. And now we're going to have to do 90-degree rotations. So transform. Okay, rotate 90 degrees. Let's put that there. then we have to redraw the grass. All right. Pit F. And then do the same thing again. Rotate it 90 degrees. Erase the grass. And then redraw the grass. And then call out pit G. And then we create pit H by rotating the canvas again. So that is creating a mighty square pit in the ground, but unfortunately, sometimes pits are going to be round. Something like that. But that is something that I might actually save for when I am drawing offline. Because it's really just kind of redundant to this process, and I do not want to repeat what I'm drawing too much when I'm on stream, because I'm already repeating plenty as it is. Okay, pit H. Okay, so oh wow, I deleted everything including my guidelines. I don't know how I managed that, but at any rate, of course, I just want to create a single hex pit, so I'm just going to draw a jagged line this way. All right. All the things that you can expect from all the pitfalls and hazards of traveling in the open grassland. And you know that you should steer clear of the Meadow Bambi, for there are many dangers. And I have made a lot of pits, but I kind of need to, because, you need all of these different sections of pit in order to truly create a pit. Okay, so we did a pit, and so now what we need to do is we need to create a lake. So once again, I'm going to need those guidelines that I deleted rather neglectfully. Grids. Grids might be useful. I think I might want to be drawing these using grids from this point forward. Also, grids don't, create their own layer like the ruler does. So I learned something today. So as I was saying, is that now that I've completed a drawing of a pit, I'm going to use the same method to create a drawing of a lake. And so with the grid in place, I can do a slightly better job of making sure that all my lines end in the area where it needs to tessellate with the other dungeon tile. So once again, drawing the grass on this side. And then waves here to indicate that this is water. And so I can do a much better job if I'm drawing a lake of making sure that all of these lines right here actually manage to stay the same shape. It's a lot easier to do than when I was trying to do the hatch marks earlier. In fact, I might even change the hatch marks. I might just even make them solid black, just for the benefit of making sure all this stuff looks good in the end. So save as Lake A. Alright, and now, well, I'm going to start doing the other thing. I'm going to start flipping these horizontal. So yeah, presumably, yeah, I can keep this in relatively the same place. And then I can erase these and draw different blades of grass here. Probably something that I should have done when I was drawing the pits, but once again, if I make mistakes like that, I will fix them offline. I do not want to take up too much of my viewers' wonderful time. This might be a somewhat redundant process, but I don't want to be redundant on top of my redundancy. Alright, so this is Lake B. Alright. And so if I do the 90-degree clockwise this way, but then I should flip it vertically instead, flip it vertical. So all of my schemes still match. And so, let's put that in the center of the grid. Make sure that's in the center of the grid. Because we need that center of the grid to be correct so that these tiles will tessellate with each other when we import them into the map making app. All right. So once again, grass on this side and waves on this side, but the waves need to be horizontal as well because they're horizontal in all of the other images. All right. Lake C. Let me see, where are the other lake tiles at the moment? Because everything is kind of putting itself together in alphabetical order. In order for me to keep everything in order, I might also just have to number these as well. Let's see. Oh, here they are. Lake A, Lake A, and Lake B come slightly before Pit because of its place in the alphabet. All right. So let's see. Lake C. Okay. Layer. Flip this horizontal. Make sure it's against the center line once again. Something seems a mess. Okay, yeah, this is exactly where Lake C is, so I still need to flip this horizontal. So, and then... yeah. Flip that horizontal. Oh, you know what? That's the thing. I'm flipping it horizontal, I should be flipping it vertical. Okay, transform. There we are. Okay, that makes sense now. Okay. Grass in the grass area. Waves in the water area. Lake D. All right. So now, once again, I am going to start doing the lake corners. So it's a matter of making just this area right here a lake corner, and then putting grass up here. Alright. Call that Lake E. And now we are doing the rotations again. 90 degrees. Fix the planes. Oops. I am doing the wrong lines there. I need to be doing these lines because these are water lines. Alright. And that's F. Okay, 90 degrees again. G. And then rotate it one more time for H. Alright. Alright, there we are. So once again, I've got a relatively squarish lake. I can make round corners if I like to, but I will be doing that offline because it's really just going to be another way of doing it that is similar to what I've already been drawing. So let me see. So I'm probably only got 30 minutes left in the stream. What I would like to do now. Let me see, I believe I have everything saved, so what I would like to do is I would like to go ahead and I would like to open up Dungeon Painter Studio. I would like to look at the fonts that I have created so far, and we'll just try to create a impromptu meadow using what we've already drawn. And so once we're done doing that, then, we can verify, what changes that we need to make with the art that we've already created. And so make sure that, this is all working together and is hopefully going to get released as a Dungeon Painter Studio font. So I'm waiting for Dungeon Painter Studio to open now. Alright, so let me pull this down. This is largely a test stream, so as you can see, everything that we've drawn so far has been loaded into the folder that we've been dropping the PNGs on, and now we can create just individual blocks of PNGs that we've saved. So that's the blank PNG right there. I don't know, I've just put down 4 of them. But anyways. So now we're capable of creating a meadow. If we were to put these images right next to each other, they would be exact copies of each other. They wouldn't look very nice. But if I were to drop one bush there, I were to drop one tree here, if I were to put one flower section here, and then I were to put 1 or 2 sets of blanks somewhere, but then I would, dot it with some grass. And so then I would probably want to use, grass and a flower over here. A little bit more like that. Just so long as I don't put 2 tiles touching, I am capable of making a grassland that looks somewhat natural. And so if I were to put, if I were to put the blank one here. And so put the desiccated bush right there. Now that's putting two right next to each other, so I want to cut those. Alright, so, trying to see how I can scroll horizontally. You know. Single area of grass. Single area of grass facing in the other direction. And then now we're getting to the tessellation tiles. The scrolling sideways in order to get to those. I'm using my scroll wheel. I can find a more delicate way of doing this in the future. So if I wanted to create a lake, then I would put 3 lake downward facing lake tiles, 3 upward facing lake tiles. That's virtually a river at this point. And then put the corner lake tile, which will go from here to here, and then put the corresponding corner lake tile, which would be that one. Put that one here. There we are. Okay, those are actually coming together quite nicely. I'm very happy about those. Alright, so then I need to put the upper and the lower here. And then the lower one goes here. It's squarish. It's like a lasagna-shaped body of water, is what it basically is. You know, but it's good that these are all working together. Let me go over to the pit ones. Let's see how well this works. This one's going to look a little funnier simply because I am using those blocks that are have the hatch marks in different directions. Okay, so then I would want to put someone like that, and then so something I'm realizing is that this might not work because I have not created 2 tiles that only have the pit texture on them. So that's just something that I'm probably going to have to wrap this one up with. And then so that's the thing, is that I do not have the pit texture for the middle of this. I don't have the pit texture for the middle of the lake either. I need to make both of those. And so these corners are not tessellating perfectly. The ones on the left and the right side are a bit wider than everything else. So I'm going to need to work on that one. So, you know, the fact is the fact that, you know, the hatch lines don't all follow in one direction did not bother me as much as I thought they would. But I do think that I just need to redo it so that they're all just kind of facing in the same line and it all looks like the same texture. So yeah, that is something that I'm just going to be working on my own slightly later. And so far I can see that, you know, my map textures are coming together in a way that, you know, it works really well. You know, I could be doing more detail art, but, you know, the point of this is that, you know, I do want to create maps that actually look like hand-drawn maps, that look like maps that are, that used to be in the very old photocopied, the old photocopied, manuals from the 1980s, etc. But also, you know, just so that it looks like it's my own art and it's just kind of a unique print that is going to be complementary to the podcast streams I do with these digital assets, and also the books that I hope to release. So I say that, yeah, this is working out. This is turning out very well in that respect. So this was a worthy experiment. I do have the ability to do things like create circular grounds, and well, if I create circular grounds, it's going to be of a singular selected pattern, and so it would be it'd make a lot more sense to use something like the standard grass for this, as opposed to the pit pattern that I had created. But this is all coming together quite nicely. So I'm a little bit on the fence here. Hang on a second. Let me head back to my parlor. So I'm a little on the fence. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be a good stream format. It was very much an experimental stream format. If you are interested in seeing more of this, and I would definitely don't mind taking some of my stream time in order to sit down and work on this, but this is also very much something I can work on my own, so it's up to you. It is up to my viewers if you want to see me draw more map patterns on stream. And so this is just what my basic idea was for a new format. I can always come up with more. So let me know if you like this or not. Those of you who are watching this on YouTube later or you're watching the VOD, let me know if you do want to see more of this. But this is turning out very well. This is definitely something that seems like it could be in the interest, something that I could create that would be in the interest of creating TTRPG, the type of TTRPG content that I want to create, which is basically focused on the individual creating TTRPG materials for their very own homebrews. That's the kind of thing that we would like to bring you here on Brainy the RPG Cat, and I certainly hope that by creating these maps, I am bringing myself a step closer to providing more of that content for you. That's the best way to put it. Anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in to Brainy the RPG Cat. Once again, I am Brainy the RPG Cat. I am a cat, and I love RPGs. Once again, let me plug our sponsor. For 10% off single TCG cards, visit greatmedia.games and use the code 10Finity at checkout. Thank you to Lemur Fanatic for tuning in. Thank you to Teanos for tuning in. Thank you to Bedronius for tuning in. You guys are all fantastic. You guys are great supporters of the stream. Thank you to my first 50 followers who have your first 50 follower fish sticks at the top of the screen. You guys are all wonderful. Thank you for making this a very fulfilling project so far. Thank you. I'm going to do a stream. I'm going to do a raid now. Let me see who I would like to visit. After the disaster that was pulling up yesterday's stream, I did take the time in order to open the my Twitch stream list in advance so that I could pick out who I would like to visit. And I think right now I would like to go and pay a visit to Stella Cosmisters. Right now they're in the middle of a Dungeons & Dragons tabletop campaign, and that should be interesting to watch. So let's go ahead and let's pay them a visit. Raid Stella Cosmister. Oh, I misspelled it. Raid Cosmister, and then I would also like to give a shout out. They're currently on right now, and they're playing Dungeons & Dragons. And this is a couple of them playing some Monster Rancher, which is also pretty cool. Or no, actually, I think maybe that might be an MMO. That is definitely a MMO. That's Final Fantasy XIV. Alright, so we're going to go over to their channel right now. Be sure to give our raid message, Brainy Raid, roll initiative. Once we get into the chat room, I will be back tomorrow, and I will more than likely be playing part 2 of our long play of Trials of Mana tomorrow. So thank you, absolutely everybody, for tuning in. You guys have been a wonderful audience. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Goodbye.